Welcome to another broadcast of Financial Intelligence. This program comes to you with the compliments of Global Branding and Marketing and Mega Money Media. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, do permit me to introduce myself. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the author of several books, including Billionaire Codes and Manager's Toolkit. I'm a multiple best-selling author. Later on in the program, I will talk to you a little bit about Manager's Toolkit, just a little bit to whet your appetite, but to say enough to help you to understand how this book can literally transform the lives of your business and ensure that you're building your business and your brand with global relevance. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about the mission behind Global Branding and Marketing and Mega Money Media. The mission is to position our clients, employees, and strategic partners to understand, to create, and to leverage passive income cash flow, build multiple streams of income, leverage smart investment strategies in order to build generational wealth. And do permit me to explain. We are truly committed to that process of helping you to understand, create, and leverage. Why? Because we see very often that people understand or have a body of knowledge relating to financial intelligence. But having that body of knowledge relating to financial intelligence does not necessarily mean that you're creating cash flowing systems that will allow you to cash flow maximize. And hence our responsibility and mission to help you to understand what is financial intelligence, to help you to create financial intelligence systems, and also to help you to leverage financial intelligence systems at creating passive income cash flow, multiple streams of income, smart investment strategies, and to build generational wealth. And I often say this when it comes to financial intelligence, there's an ocean of information that you should know in order to make better financial decisions. So, in the programs that we will bring to you in 2020 and beyond, it will help you to better understand what is the commercial financial sector. It will help you to understand better what is the investment financial sector and what is smart capital markets. And we believe that these information provides the key that will literally change your perspective on how you see money. Now, I'll talk a little bit about the commercial financial sector as it relates to business. Now, the average business who are thinking about capital, they're thinking commercial financial sector. And what we would normally say to businesses, particularly if you're now starting your business, the commercial financial sector is not necessarily the first point of accessing capital because you need to measure whether is the capital is coming at a high cost or a highly competitive rate of capital. Now let me explain this. The average person going to the commercial financial sector to, let us say, take a loan of $10 million at a cost of 10% per annum, it simply means that every year you're paying $1 million for the cost of that loan. So if the loan has a life cycle of about 20 years, it simply means that you're paying $10 million as the cost for the debt of $10 million. And you can do the maths over the life cycle of the debt and you can come up with this. So, in other words, what I'm simply saying, The cost of borrowing that $10 million is $10 million. Now, I will not get into all the technical issues here, but it's just for you to understand that a debt has a life cycle, a debt has a cost, and if you understand debt weapons and debt life cycle reduction strategies, you will be able to reduce the cost of that debt perhaps from $10 million over its life cycle to perhaps $5 million over a new life cycle that you can manage. So at Global Brand and Marketing, at the Mega Money Media, when we talk about understanding the financial market, the commercial financial market, we are diving deep into these issues so as to ensure that you have a clear working knowledge as to how to navigate the financial sector. There's so much of information that we will be sharing with you as you become our client and as we start to roll out our master training initiative to help you to better understand how to navigate the financial world. In this program, you will also learn about the investment financial sector, which is vastly different from the commercial financial sector. And here is where you will learn about the difference between interest and dividend. And again, the foundation of these programs, as you start to get the information and you start to understand how to leverage and navigate the financial world, it will literally wow your mind. And it is my belief that most of you today understand the difference between interest and dividends. And interest, you have to pay that on a monthly basis. Dividends is different. Now, along with this, we will also talk to you about smart capital market. And this is a particular market that beginners and new entries into the business world, you need to understand this. You need to understand the process of building value chain and value systems that you can easily leverage to cash flow maximize. And leveraging these systems is the major difference between interest, dividends, and perhaps paying zero cost for the capital gain that can be leveraged back into your business. But to achieve this, which is cash flow maximization by leveraging smart capital, it's important that from the get-go, you get your frame of mind in the right place. And that is, in getting into business, the key focus is not necessarily about cash flow maximization. And there's nothing wrong with cash flow maximizing, but you must get your thoughts and your motives in the right place. And your thought and the motive must be in that place where you're constantly asking yourself, what value are you adding? What value, what problems you're fixing? The primary reason that you're into business must amplify around these two statements, or the questions that you should constantly ask yourself. What value am I adding to the needs, wants, and expectations of my customers? What problems am I fixing as it relates to my customers? You constantly have to ask yourself these questions. Now, as you put yourself in that position of strength to not only ask yourself the questions, but to get honest answers and to build your business portfolio around this clear understanding and ensuring that you're not only delivering up to the expectations of the customer, but because you're constantly doing this research analysis, you're now in a position of strength to deliver above and beyond your customer expectation. And I want to assure you that once you leverage these systems, you will not only able to achieve customer attention and customer impact and customer conversion, but you will put yourself in that position to have that competitive advantage where you're constantly growing and developing your brand. So, in our program, it's a heavy financial content that you will understand. It's also a heavy business content that you need to understand in order to grow, diversify, and to build your business and your brand with international relevance. I continue here now by telling you a little bit more about the mission. You see, cash flow maximization goes beyond your ability to make money and maximize your disposable income. It addressed the issue of understanding the global financial systems and leveraging this body of knowledge, this intelligence, to create good debt cash flow, minimize existing debt financial portfolio while you maximize financial and equity capital gain. As I make this statement, I can recall a few mornings back, a senior businessman asked me the question that is there such thing as good debt cash flow? I was a bit surprised because I know that this particular individual is one of the sharpest entrepreneurs that I have ever encountered. You don't get past these guys like that. But the main fact that they were asking the question, it tells me that we have to do so much more work in terms of edifying and educating people about financial intelligence. And the answer to that question is yes, there's a difference between good debt cash flow and bad debt cash flow. A quick example is this. The average person creates a debt. You create a debt to invest in what? Invest in liabilities. And once you create a debt to invest in liability, you're simply creating bad debt. But they're the smart ones who create debt and they leverage debt to create wealth. All right. And those are things that we get deep into to really help you to understand. The people that truly understand financial intelligence never run away from debt. They walk into debt with a high degree of awareness of how to leverage it and how to manage the debt portfolio. In our program, we will help you to understand all of that. But there's so much more to this because along with understanding what is the difference between good debt and bad debt, we also help you to understand a range of other issues relating to finance. All right? We help you to understand a massive amount of cash flow maximization system. As our statements say, is to help you to understand the difference between good debt cash flow, minimize debt financial portfolio. This is something that again I cannot emphasize enough. The need for you to understand how to minimize the debt life cycle portfolio. It is good to create the debt, but do you understand debt weapons and debt life cycle reductions tools in order to reduce the debt portfolio? Now, along with this is to understand, not only understanding what is debt life cycle reduction strategies. It's not about understanding only the difference between good debt versus bad debt and debt life cycle reduction strategies, but we'll help you to understand what is equity capital gain and what is financial leverage. Now, a quick example on financial leverage is where we will talk a lot about the fact that many businesses today that are making a profit, what you allow that profit to sit in a 0.1% interest bearing account. And in most cases, you're not fully aware of cash flowing systems that will allow you to gain or to leverage that sitting duck where it can become now a quacking duck that is very much like a cash flowing machine. And this is the kind of information that we're going to bring to you that will help you to understand how to leverage your cash flow where it can now generate 3%, 5%, 10% on the cash that you have. All right, it becomes now what one might want to say financial leverage. But what is equity capital gain? It's another financial system for you to learn. And there's so much of information that we will be teaching you in terms of money, how money works, in terms of debt, how to better manage debt, in terms of equity, how to create equity capital gain. And there's a wealth of information that we will be working with businesses to really help you to understand. Now, I want to do a slight deviation now because I think I've said enough about the mission behind Global Branding and Marketing and Mega Money Media. At the end of this program, I will be telling you a little bit more about the Mega Money brand. But I want to talk to you about a very important topic that is in this book. And I'm going to read a little bit, and I'm reading from page 10. And I want us to talk a little bit about brand traits optimization. Is it page 10? I will read a little bit from page 16, page 17. And all right, I'll change the page and I'll now look at page 18. Serbada. The name of the book is Manager's Toolkit, and I'll be reading from page 18, and the title here is Brand Traits Optimization. I believe that this is a very topical issue because as it relates to your branding and your marketing, you constantly have to ask yourself, what steps can you take to not only make your brand relevant to the needs, wants, and expectations of your target market, but how you can constantly optimize your brand traits with relevance to the immediate and the future needs of your specific target market. We are seeing that many businesses across the world fail, and it failed for many reasons. In our program, we will tell you it's important for you to understand your brand. It's important for you to understand your brand relevance to your target market. That means you should understand your target market needs, wants, and expectations, and then you build that brand to satisfy those expectations and go beyond the satisfying those expectations. So I'm going to read a little bit here, and I'm reading from page 18 of Manager's Toolkit, and the topic is brand traits optimization. Now, the first thing we see here is define your brand DNA. And what does that mean? Your DNA equals your differentiating factors. We talk about define your brand DNA. What is your brand DNA? And one of the things that we talk about is that when you look at your thumbprint, you're the only person in the world that has this DNA, this thumbprint. Is this transferable to your business and how you brand your business? Yes, it is. So we ask the question, what is different about your brand? Why is it that a customer should come to your business and use your brand based on your differentiation factors? Because if you're offering the same thing that I'm offering, if I'm offering the same thing that you're offering, there's really no great motivation for John Public to come to either of us, because I can make a choice. I go anywhere, wherever I want to get the product. But when you can identify your differentiating factor, your DNA, and scale up the visibility behind your DNA, is where you're going to start to make tremendous strive, tremendous inroad, tremendous market separation in getting your brand out there. So I continue to read. Your ability to identify what gives your brand its corporate advantage or advantages and what makes it different from the competition are essential facts to know about your brand. Do you know this about your brand? Do you know this about your business? What makes your brand different? What makes your business different? And as we go deeper into reading, it explains a number of techniques that you can use to make your brand and to make your business different from your competition, to clearly identify your brand DNA. And understanding that and being in that position of strength to amplify it is important for you to know. Now, I want to correlate that directly to what we are doing at Global Branding and Marketing and the Mega Money Media brand. Over the last 20 years, we have been doing research, we have been doing some deep diving, and we have been developing original content in order to separate ourselves from everyone else in the market. And I can assure you, it's not an easy task. It's a lot of hard work, but when you as you dig deeper and you start to refine your knowledge and your understanding about the range of knowledge-based information out there, you start to identify how you can separate yourself and how you can differentiate yourself and how you can build your DNA. And one of the things that we have done to separate ourselves from the competition and to separate ourselves from everyone else in the marketplace is by developing unique content that is relevant to the private sector and is relevant to people. And let me talk about this a little bit.